Today we will talk about percent basics in terms of percents and fractions. Let's go back to percents. When we talk about 10% with the percent symbol, what we mean is we have 100 pieces and we are taking 10 out of 100. So 10% simply means 10 out of 100 pieces. You can actually go and simplify that. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 100 divided by 10 is 10. And in fraction, that would mean 1/10. Let's do another example. Let's say I'm talking about 3%. What that means, I'm taking 3 pieces out of 100. 3 out of 100. In this case, I cannot simplify anymore, so I leave it as 3 over 100. So that would be the last step. Let's look at another example where I have more than 100%, something like 150%. So that means I'm taking 150 pieces out of 100 pieces. So I take 100 here and I need 50 more. 150%. So that means 150% instead of percent, put over 100. And you can actually go and simplify this a little bit. 15 divided by 5, 3. 10 divided by 5, 2. It's 3 over 2. It is an improper fraction when it is over 100%. And what it means is 1 1/2, which happens to be 150%. So what is the step to go from percent to fraction? What you do is take out, let's say we go back to this example, 7%. Take out the percent notation and then put in over 100 and then simplify. So let's do these steps ourselves. Take out percent notation, which is 7. Put in 7 over 100. Simplify. There's nothing I can simplify in this case. Let's try another example. 25%. I take out, again, the percent notation, which is 25. Then I put in over 100, which is 25 over 100. Last step, simplify. Simplify is you take 25 over 100 and simplify it. 25 divided by 25, 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. 1/4. So to go from percent to fraction, that's what you do. Now let's go back from fraction to percent. Now, when I want to go fraction to percent, let's say 1/2, and it's in the simplified form, and I know that I need to go to 100 in the denominator so that I can replace it with percent. So let's try that step. If this number goes into 100, you just try to multiply top and bottom by that number. That will make it 100. In this case, it's 50. You write it as over 100 notation. And then you take the 100 out and you write 50%. Let's do another example. 1/4. Now what we do is we want to write it as 100 in the denominator. How do I get from 4 to 100? multiply by 25. Then you have 25 over 100. And take the 100 out and write it as 25%. But you see a difficulty with this method if you have a situation where that number doesn't go evenly into 100, some like 1/3. What do you do with that? 3 is not going to go to 100 directly. So this is what you do. When you have a situation where this number doesn't go into 100 and you want to go from fractions into percents, one way to get there is go from fractions to decimals, then decimals to percents. Let me show you how that works. Remember how you went from fractions to decimals. You simply divide 1 divided by 3. In this case, you get 0.33 repeating. And remember how you go from decimals to percents. You take your 0.33 repeating, you multiply by 100, and you'll be getting 33.3. And now you put back the percent sign. So 1/3 is simply 33.3%. So you can do it either way. Take it from fraction to decimal, decimal to percent. So I'll do an example where I do both methods. Again, we are going from fractions to percent. Let's see, I have 1/5. The first method will say, okay, well, let's try to make this denominator 100. How do I do that? Multiply the denominator by 20. You will get 20 over 100, which is the same as 20%. Let's do the same example with the other method. I have 1/5. This time, instead of making the denominator 100, I will go to decimal. And what is the decimal? 1/5 in decimal is 0.2. And what do I do from decimal to percent? You multiply your decimal by 100, which is 20, and now you simply put the percent sign in there.